What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to a live episode of the Dogs podcast. Sorry we're a few minutes late. Josh is having some technical difficulties on his end. I'm still having technical difficulties on my end. I turns out I need a new computer. So subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the dog pack so I can afford to buy a new computer so we can go live on time. If you want to get your intros and your voicemails on the show, head to thedogspodcast.com. Tap leave voicemail in the drop down menu. We love hearing from you guys, especially post game. We love hearing your guys' thoughts. We like getting your intros. We haven't had a good fan intro to play in a while, so jump on there and leave us a fan intro. Those were always fun to get. We used to get some really creative ones. So drop us an intro. We like to hear those. Today we're going to talk about the matchup with the Ravens. Browns coming in very beat up, especially up front on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to get into it, talk about what we expect out of the offense this week and just our thoughts on the game in general. Before we do, though, remember you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you're watching right now on YouTube, please like and subscribe. The key word here is please subscribe. We're inching closer to the 10,000 follower. We still got a little ways to go, but we're getting closer than really we ever thought we would. And we just need everybody who watches. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe. It helps us out a ton. If we can get to that by the end of the season, that'd be a pretty special goal for us to hit. So help us out. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell. You don't want to miss any new content. We're constantly going live throughout the week, post game and pre-game. You don't want to miss any of the episodes we're putting out. Lastly, if you're looking for more dogs content, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official dog pack member on the Patreon page. We have you get access to the private Discord. You get an extra episode every week. You get to play fantasy football with us. You get to just hang out with Browns fans from all over the world. Veterans Day, we have a ton of vets in there. I would say at least a fourth, if not a third, of our dog pack members are vets. So if you're a Browns fan, you're a vet, you like hanging out with other Browns fans who are also vets. It's just a super good community in there. Everybody gets along. It's a ton of fun, especially on game day and just in season in general. The extra episodes are always fun that you guys get to do, that we do throughout the week. So if you're interested in more content, you want to hang out with us, you want to meet Browns fans from all over the world, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official dog pack member. So today's going to be officially the best day I ever look at the camera because I'm not using my computer. I'm stuck using my phone. So maybe, the Lord works in mysterious ways. So hopefully I'm making great eye contact with all of you. Hopefully none of you guys are too turned on. But so
Jesus.
to go ahead and jump into the what we kind of think of this matchup. Unfortunately, the Browns coming in super beat up front. We already knew we were going to be down Jed Wills. Now we get word today DeJuan Jones not starting. So we're down to now our fourth string tackles. I haven't heard what the Browns are going to do yet, but if I had to guess, I would say Hudson's going to play right. I would guess they're going to jump Joel Bitonio off the left and probably put Dunn in a guard. That's what I would assume is going to happen. So kind of tough going into a game where you're playing. I mean, they're statistically the number one defense in the league in terms of scoring. They're right up there with us in all the individual stats of the defense in terms of we're the one and two best defenses in the league. So it sucks coming into this game very beat up front. And to be honest, this is why you traded 3 first-round picks and you paid $230 million to Deshaun, because it's the NFL and this stuff's going to happen. You're looking for now. You need your franchise quarterback to go out and to elevate and to overcome some of the deficiencies that we're going to have in this game and go win a big game. My only concern is he's also just now coming back from injury. He's only had one game in the last month and a half. And was that enough of a warm up for him to be able to come out here and essentially he's going to have to shoulder the load? I don't expect us to have much of a run game. I'm hoping we'll stay committed to it, hopefully, try to keep them honest, but I'm not expecting big day from anybody on the ground. Strong is also questionable. I mean, we're basically saying, Deshaun, go win us a game in your second game back from injury against the number one defense in the league on the road. It's going to be a tall task. This is the kind of game I would expect Deshaun to go win us if he had played every game up to this point and was in, mid-season form and really starting to come into his own. It's a tough ass second game back from injury, and he's probably still not even 100%.
Yeah. So One thing about Deshaun that I wanted to mention as soon as he got brought up tonight, I was listening to another show today, a guy who I don't want to say he like evaluates quarterbacks closely, but he's pretty, you know, offensively minded in the quarterback zone. And he was talking about Deshaun Watson. He said, I went back, I watched every snap or every pass play. He said, in all of his downfield passes, super accurate. And he said, in all of his like short and intermediate throws, kind of weird. They all didn't look very good. Some of them looked okay, some didn't. And he said, I think the main difference is whenever Deshaun goes deep, he has to plant his feet and do his footwork correctly in order to get the ball where he wants to go. I mean, it's just natural. So he's very accurate when he plants his feet and his footwork is correct. But whenever he's in the intermediate throwing, he doesn't seem to plant his feet always, and he kind of throws off balance. And it seems like that's really affecting maybe the shoulders not allowing him to make those off-platform throws the way he normally does. So I think if he does not focus on getting his footwork set for those intermediate throws, we could struggle throwing the ball in this one.
I
That's
think
fair.
too, some of the footwork on these short to intermediate throws, the difference between going deep, in the short to intermediate is essentially how much time you're going to hold on to the ball. So if you're going deep, you're probably sitting in the pocket. You got time to set your base. You know where you're looking, and then you got time to set and throw. On these short to intermediate routes, you're going through your progressions, boom, boom, boom. Then it's a quick trigger, get the ball out. I don't know if he's seen the field quickly. I don't know if he's going through his progression super quick right now. And so then his feet are a little bit behind because his brain's a little bit behind. And then next thing you know, he's throwing off platform. So I think he's still catching up to the speed of everything. He's still catching up to the offense because again, all these other quarterbacks who've been healthy all year, they had their 3 to 4 week preseason time the first month of the season. Deshaun didn't really get that. He got to play 3 games and then goes out for a month. So he's like back in preseason mode. So I think he's still got to get up to seeing the game. He's got to get up with the speed. So I'm not. I expect this to be a low scoring, ugly game. I do think, despite all the injuries and stuff, I do think the Browns still very much have a chance in this game to go in and get the win. We played tough against them in spurts the first time. They beat us 28-0, and
27-3.
we gave them short fields all game. I would have, even if Deshaun's not incredibly accurate this game and he doesn't play as well as he did in, say, the Titans or the last 2.5 quarters of the Cardinals game, I still don't expect him to come out and throw 3 picks. And I don't expect him to just be running around and dropping the ball and just, I don't expect him to be DTR. I
Right.
still expect the offense to be more efficient than it was that first time around. And if we can stay on the field a little bit, we can play the field position game a little bit and let our defense not be on the field for the entire game. I still think we can muddy up this game, ugly up this game, and keep it a game late and be in it, with a chance to win with 5-6 minutes to go.
I think something positive to take out of that last game, even if it's Arizona Cardinals, is our quarterbacks, whether it was DTR, PJ Walker, or Deshaun, wasn't seeing the check down or even, you know what I mean? So I think that during that game, the Arizona game, there was at least like 6 or 7 check down opportunities. So that was something that we didn't have, that whether they weren't seeing it or they didn't have enough time for it to open up and develop. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think this is 2 defenses that are playing great. I think that it's crazy because Baltimore, you can make the argument they're one of the ones like most well-oiled teams out there right now in the NFL. They are absolutely playing peak performance right now. I mean, they're pretty much steamrolling everybody that they go against. Arizona, they won by 2 touchdowns, but they blew the brakes off of Seattle. They won by 2 touchdowns.
I think Arizona scored a late touchdown, I think.
Did they? Okay. Well,
I think so.
Even then, they just went and blew the brakes off of Seattle last week, a team that we lost to.
Well, Seattle went
the last second.
Seattle went to Baltimore. So I mean, there's a little home field,
I don't know.
It's a lot.
I think they're playing well.
Seattle.
I'm not saying Baltimore's definitely playing well right now.
Yes.
If
we're not, we got to give them some credit. They're playing well.
Oh, for sure. They're definitely one of the top 2 to 3 teams in the league right now, but I just don't think that they're unbeatable in terms of, I mean, we just watched the Colts with Gardner Minshew beat them.
Yeah. Everybody said that we couldn't beat San Francisco and
so, and we watched Arizona play, they hung around a little bit. The Cardinals kind of ran all over them, or the Ravens ran all over them. So it's just when you go into a Ravens game, though, you can't beat yourself because they're going to play disciplined. They're going to play tough. They're going to play smart. They got a kicker who can make it from 60 plus. Like, you got to come out. We can't have pre-snap penalties, self-inflicted wounds. We can't start drives 1st and 20. Like, we got to come out. We have to play tough, smart football in this game. And like I said, ugly it up, muddy it up, and keep it a one possession game. Give yourself a chance to be in it, 5-6 minutes to go in the game. And I think we can do that. I think we can, but we can't do that if we're playing against the Ravens and we're playing against ourselves. Like, we got to come out, we got to play smart.
Yep. Well, Fatal Gnome in the super chat just said 100% winner. Watson, dinner, 14-3 train. Woo, woof, woog. I think he put woog, woof, dog, check. All right.
I like how we jumped off the 15-2 train straight to the 14-3 train.
Well, that's the next best
Love that
option
guy.
right now, man.
So, John, what do you think? You guys, I can't see everybody at once. I almost forgot you were here. So, what do you think we need to do?
Dude, I forgot I was here. It's a prove it game for Watson, man. I think our so let's say Watson doesn't have any turnovers, right? That instantly makes us puts us in a way better position than the last time we played the Ravens because we gave them the ball in scoring position twice. I think our special teams gave them the ball in scoring position too, though, if I remember correctly, something like that. But if Watson doesn't have any turnovers, we talked last week about how it's not everything that he can do. It's also the mistakes that he won't make. Like, it's the things he won't do that can make such a big difference. But I do think as far as scoring goes, we got to rely on Watson to just be that guy because they're going to be able to take our run game away without our offensive line. Pass protection is going to be questionable, probably. So Watson's just going to have to go out and prove that he's worth what we paid him. And that's kind of what I want to see because I think that's how we're going to win. And we are going to win.
I completely agree with you. This is a prove it game. I just wish he could have had this prove it game after he just played for the last 6 weeks instead of, 1 week removed from sitting out for a month. It just kind of sucks. But no, I agree. If it's going to go as we're going to do as well as he does in this game. I hope he doesn't press. We've kind of seen him at times. I feel like a little bit like he almost is feeling the pressure of the contract and the trade. And, he wants everybody to see that he was worth everything the Browns gave up for him. And sometimes I think you can see that in his play, especially if it gets a little bumpy early. I hope he's not pressing. Justin, you talked about the taking the checkdowns. I hope just continue to take what the defense is giving you. You don't have to go out and be Superman early. Get into a rhythm, get into a flow. If we punt the first 2 or 3 times we have the ball, it's okay as long as we're not turning it over. We're tackling on special teams. Just don't go lose the game because you're pressing, trying to do too much. Just stay within yourself, get into a rhythm, kind of get your feet under you, get going, and then you can make some plays as you kind of get into the speed of the game. I just don't want him coming out just chucking it around, dumb decisions, turnovers early, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But-
Go ahead, Justin.
I just wanted to say, if there's anything that we've learned in our lives in these divisional games, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I've seen Browns teams that didn't even deserve to be on the field with really, really great divisional opponents, and they make it interesting, sometimes winning the game. I think this is a hell of a team. It's one of the best teams that I think we've had in our lifetime. So I would love for it to just be a great all-around building block game. This is a game we don't need to have. But, man, if you want to make some noise and shake things up, all people have been talking about is how good Baltimore is, how great they are. Go in there, go into their home stadium, punch them in the mouth, come out with the win, and then move on to Pittsburgh. This is a good opportunity in the next 2 weeks. We play divisional opponents. Let's put a win together and stack some wins.
Yep.
As Coach would say.
This is a statement game for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes we could beat a team and all of a sudden that team wasn't that good, even though the narrative coming into the game was how great they are. But then once the Browns beat them, it's like, oh, they weren't that good. The same thing happens to Ohio State. Like you beat Notre Dame or Penn State, and oh, they're not actually that good. So I feel like that kind of happens to the Browns at times too. But you can't say that about Baltimore. Nobody's going to say
No.
Baltimore wasn't playing well if we come into this game. How do you think the narrative changes? Say we don't win, but we play tough. They beat us on a Justin Tucker 58-yard last second field goal. They beat us by 2 or 3 or something. I still think the narrative starts to change a little bit. Like these Browns, they can play with anybody.
Yeah, I agree. And the AFC is kind of up for grabs as far as playoff positioning. It's not like there's nobody really running away from this thing. Like it's very, very congested there. I mean, the whole damn AFC North is in the playoffs right now. Obviously, I don't think that works out like that, just based on we all have to play each other, 1 or 2 more times. But I do think could be a huge, huge statement game for the Browns. I do. Everybody in social media and national media is crowning Baltimore. You don't see a lot of people really, at least in my perspective, I haven't seen really anybody giving any respect to Cleveland at all. Everything's been, man, Baltimore's on a tear. Hopefully the Browns can stick around and hang around and make it at least a 2-score game. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is 2 of the best defenses. It's going to be ugly. And I'm worried. My biggest concern going into it, you have 2 great defenses, 2 good teams in general. I could see this being like a high injury game. I could see a lot of injuries in this game just because this is one of the most heated rivalries in football. Whether you agree with it or not, as Browns fans, we hate the Ravens. We hate the Steelers, but we hate the Ravens also. This is one that you have. If you're a Browns player and you understand the history of this team, you check that every time, both times. You have to beat Pittsburgh twice and you could beat Baltimore twice. I don't care if we lose every other game when we sucked. If we beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore, great season. Let's move on to next year. Maybe we'll be okay next year. It's huge. And the fact that you're in the mix for the playoffs, and then this is the opponent that you get to face off and say, hey, we are the real deal. We want to be in the mix. We want to make the playoffs, maybe win the division. Go win this game. This is huge.
I think key to the game, got to avoid an early turnover. Don't let their crowd get it. Like, don't come out on the first drive, have a fumble or throw a pick, especially like a pick 6, because that's the crowd's just going to feed off that. That's it. Avoid the early turnover. Come out, like I said, even if you got to punt the first couple times, just weather the storm. They're going to come out pumped up. It's a divisional game for them. They're playing at home. They got a chance to really separate themselves. Like, they're going to come out fired up. We got to match that level of intensity defensively. I saw a stat that made me a little bit worried is, like, I think it's the last month or so against man coverage, Lamar's lighting it up. And it turns out the Browns play, 80% of the time in man coverage. And then the key to that is to get pressure. But at the same time, I'm afraid – I'm not going to say I'm afraid to get pressure on Lamar, but I'm afraid to be an uncontrolled rush and open up huge run lanes for him. I would hate for him to only throw for 130 yards, but he breaks the quarterback rushing record, and we can't get him off the field on 3rd down because he keeps running for first down. So I feel like the Browns are at their best when they're aggressive. They're playing like their hair is on fire. But I also think you have to change it up a little bit in terms of it's got to be a very disciplined rush. You got to keep him in the pocket. He's thrown the ball well this year. They're not putting up gaudy numbers, but his completion percentage is like 70-some%. So but that's how you got to try to make him beat you. And then just hope he's not going to nickel and dime you the whole way down the field. You know what I mean? Like, don't give up the big play, keep him in the pocket, make him complete 70% of his passes and see if he can get to 200 yards passing, because he hasn't got to 200 yards passing, I don't feel like, many times this year, but he's the front runner for MVP right now because he's completing 72% of his passes and playing. Their offense isn't insanely explosive, but it's super efficient. Like, they're just scoring it super efficiently. Their point differential's #1 in the league. They're crazy efficient on offense, and then they have a suffocating defense. So we just got to try to keep pace with that. You got to try to limit the explosive plays out of Lamar.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see it. Sorry, dog. Go ahead.
You're good. No, you go for it.
I just think that also you got to kind of make them one-dimensional. Their running game is hitting strides right now. Gus Edwards is touching the ball like 10 times and getting 2 or 3 touchdowns a game. Keaton Mitchell, this kid's crazy good and not really, they give the ball to Justice Hill a lot and he doesn't really do a lot with it. I think that you have to shut them down on the run and then make Lamar throw the ball. Like you said, if he dices us up with the throw, that's fine. I guess I'm fine with that. But you can't let them just control the clock and run all down our throats. You can't just shut down their running game, make them one-dimensional. I'd like just to see our defense be very aggressive. Try to get a couple turnovers if you can.
I'd like to see the defense have a little chip on their shoulder because I would say, I mean, they were on the field a ton, but the Ravens kind of had their way against this defense a little bit of that first game, especially in the short field. Like, I mean, we turned the ball over early in the first quarter, and they got the ball like the 10 or 15-yard line. But one play, Lamar runs in. He's not even down to two-hand tap. He still hasn't been touched. So I'm not going to say like the defense was completely at fault that game. We gave up 28, points, and they had the ball the whole game, short fields, that kind of thing. But it wasn't the Browns' best defensive performance by any stretch, in my opinion. Like I would like to, hopefully we come out with a little bit of edge, a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. Like, okay, the first game we had a rookie quarterback. We were on the field a ton. I'm not going to say it was a fluke, but this is a different team. This is, different energy today. So I hope they kind of come out with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I got a couple injury things I want to ask you guys about. But before I do, Browns fans, in Ohio, Caesar Sportsbook is running a new sign-up offer that you don't want to miss. New customers can get their first bet on Caesars up to $1,000 by using our code DAWGS1000 during sign-up. Not only will your first bet be covered, but you're also going to be directly supporting our show. So if you haven't joined Caesars yet, now's the perfect time to make your move. Just remember, enter our code DAWGS1000 during sign-up. Place that first bet. That's DAWGS1000. This offer is only available for new customers who are 21 and older and physically present in Ohio. Please gamble responsibly. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Check the episode description for the full terms of the offer to see if you can qualify. I wanted to bring up the secondary because I kind of went under the radar this week, but Cam Mitchell, who'd been filling in for Greg Newsome, got placed on IR this week with a hamstring injury. And I know Greg Newsome practiced this week, but I believe every practice was limited. So he's going into the weekend questionable, the last I saw. Now it sounds like there's a chance he's going to play, but even if he does play, he's not going to be at full strength. And if he doesn't play, who's our other corners outside of Denzel and Emerson?
I'd love to tell you, but my computer's not working.
Hold on. Let me do some research.
I'm at 21% updates. If you guys can hang on for like 3 to 4 more hours, I'll be able to get you our roster.
I think we'll be all right.
It's the Browns, man. Injuries.
It's killing us, man.
Rough season for injuries.
Mike Ford.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Okay. He's played well at times. He's still not. Cameron Mitchell been playing really well. I think against the Cardinals, was he our top? He might have been our top-rated defensive player, or at least secondary player. It's and then Newsome. We all know Newsome's a dog. He's missing a game or two now, so it kind of sucks that the Browns make a move for what they hope is a franchise quarterback. They're 5-3. They've weathered all this adversity. We're in prime position to make a playoff push. And it's just even more injuries. Like, oh, let's lose our left tackle. Oh, let's lose our corner. Let's lose his backup. It's like, man, can we catch a freaking break?
I mean, it's been every week. So, like I was telling somebody today, it started week 1. Like the season kicked off this way. Jack Conklin down, gone for the season. And then week 2, Chubb down, gone for the season. Week 3, Deshaun Watson plays the whole game. But then we lose him for the next 4. And it's like, and then in between, there's just guys going down left and right. We got all 3 of our running backs are dealing with injuries right now. You got Ford's got that ankle sprain that he's somehow carrying the ball 20 times last week through. Strong might not even play with his hamstring injury. And then Kareem Hunt's still dealing with his thigh issue, which I don't know how much is limiting him, but they're all banged up. And, we lost Marquise Goodwin. We traded away Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, we're kind of thin. It's wild what we're going through right now.
Do you expect is Kenny Drake going to get activated?
Possible.
We'll see what happens. If he does, I think that means Strong is out. And I don't know how severe the hamstring injury is going to be, but see how long it keeps him out if it does.
What do you expect if Kenyon Drake is elevated? Are we expecting much out of him? I mean, at one point, he was pretty solid back. I don't know what he's got left in the tank.
I feel like he's a
revenge game.
Yeah, he's a seasoned veteran running back. I think that you can kind of stick him in, and I I don't think you're looking for like super big fireworks or anything, but I think competent running back play out of Kenyon Drake definitely can expect that.
So call me crazy, but if I'm the Browns this week, I'd probably start Kareem Hunt at running back.
Yeah.
And if you're going to give a running back carries this week, I'd give Kareem the 20 and give Ford, the 12 to 15 or whatever, because I think this is not a game, like I said, we can't live in 2nd and 12.
Oh man.
Okay. And I just think with Kareem, with his one cut in north and south, we're going to find ourselves, at least if you're in 2nd and long, it's going to be 2nd and 8, not 2nd and 12. You know what I mean? And it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a big difference on the play sheet between 2nd and 8 and 2nd and 12. And I just think his style of running against this defense, I'm not giving the ball to Ford to start 50% of our drives at 2nd and 10 plus. I watched some of the Jake Burns film breakdown. I just don't know. Ford just doesn't see the field that well. And some of this stuff, like, it would take a nice cut. Okay. Like, I understand, like, the hole is here and the cutback lane is here. And it would take like a good jump cut to get into that lane and go. But man, you're starting running back in the NFL. You, like, even if you don't bust it for 60, I still expect you to at least like see it and try. It's just, he's got a little bit of Trent Richardson syndrome, and I just don't know if we can afford that. I don't mind peppering him in there because he's got some speed, and if you can get him on the edge and get him through the first line of defense, like, and he's in the open field, he's gone. And Kareem Hunt's probably not running away from anybody in the open field right now. But I just don't know if we need a home run hitter at running back this game as much as we just need somebody who's going to keep us ahead of the chains. Like, the pros of Jerome Ford potentially hitting a 60-yard is not worth the cons of being 2nd and 12 for, like I said, 50% of our drives. It's just not. So I would consider starting Kareem Hunt this week. I wanted Strong to get these carries, but I'm assuming he must not be very good at pass pro, and that's why he's not getting on the field often. And now he's banged up. So I would go to Kareem Hunt.
That's fair.
I'd love to see what the chat's saying, but I don't know if you guys heard, but my computer's not working.
I think you may have mentioned it once or twice.
So I can't even reference the chat to see what's going on. It's a very shoddy episode by the Dawgs podcast today. I apologize. So I would start Kareem Hunt, and you got to get Njoku involved. And again, just Deshaun's got to come out and he's got to play well, but he can't press. He's just got to let the game come to him, stay under control, make good decisions, hold on to the ball. I think his legs could be like he could end up being our leading rusher, potentially 2nd leading rusher. But if you get in the open field, you're going to take a hit. I want to see him get down.
Yep.
Because we can't afford to. I mean, if he goes down again, we can only go with a backup quarterback so many times. Like, we're not going to keep pulling out wins with PJ Walker or DTR. So
no, we saw him take that shot last week, and he got up shaking the shoulder, and it was like, oh man. I mean, I think every Browns fan's heart just dropped right down to their gut on that one.
I haven't heard anything though. Like, he didn't experience any setbacks. From what I know, he
practiced all week.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And maybe that was just his reaction to like, oh, I just got popped in my bad shoulder that's been hurt for over a month. Am I okay? And then, he ends up making that super nice throw down the field to Amari Cooper, one of the prettiest passes you're ever going to see. And he's okay. He's good.
Filthy.
It was, man.
Well, any more thoughts on the game? Anything else? I don't know how long we've been going because my computer's not working.
Let's do score predictions.
Right around our half hour mark. So yeah, let's do it.
21-10 Browns.
That was just me clapping because I was so damn proud just now, John. Go ahead. Who's next?
Go ahead, Blake.
I was going to. So my brain says Ravens are going to win because that's what happens.
No.
But my gut and my spirit and my heart is going to say Browns win one 17-14. Get it with a last second field goal out of Dustin Hopkins.
Love
Oof.
it.
Okay.
This is one where I would say it's going to be, Blake, you mentioned it earlier. It's going to be I think it's going to be a low scoring, tough game. But I mean, I guess not super low scoring because I'm going to predict 19-18 Browns. I think we just squeak it out because
How do you get to 19?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, we got to figure that out real quick. Couple safeties.
what are you talking about? Plenty of teams put up 19.
Oh, play for two. Play for two. Go
Yeah.
for two.
Go for two.
There you go.
There's all kinds of ways to get there.
I thought you were gonna say 1918 a few years after the Titanic sank or something. I didn't know what we were talking
Well, you
about.
think about it, if you score a touchdown, kick a field goal, and you're at 10, and then you kick 3 more field goals, you're at 19.
There's 19.
There
There
you go.
are
Right
ways
there.
Math
you
is
go.
not that hard when you just sit down and let it work itself out.
That's
There
right.
I
are
could
ways.
actually see us kicking a lot of field goals. So there you go.
Yes. Give me
All right,
Browns.
John, bring it home.
John,
already
I
said
think
it.
give me Browns 24-17.
Cool.
Let's make the
So-
division interesting.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. We like to keep these preview episodes nice and short and sweet. Thank you guys for joining us on a Friday night. We really appreciate you being here. We appreciate you waiting for us as we were having our technical difficulties. One day we'll be able to hire a production team and they'll figure all this stuff out for us. But until the year 2085, we're going to have to keep doing it ourselves. So we appreciate you hanging tight, being patient. I assume the chat was good. You guys never let us down. So we appreciate you guys being here on a Friday night. We can't wait to hopefully see you guys Monday or Tuesday, whichever day we decide to go live next.
I have to stop you
about a big win.
real quick. Aaron D.
Yeah,
we missed his super chat, and I'm glad he reminded us because I wasn't keeping my eyes on the chat either. Blake, I know you couldn't see it. He says
my computer's not working.
Yeah, he says I'm usually working when these things go on. Not this time. Wanted to show some love and support. Go Browns! Big time statement this Sunday, fellas. Time to change the narrative. That's a perfect way to. You know what?
Amen.
I'm glad that I didn't see that till now. Perfect way to end the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
agree.
bud.
He's a Dog Pack member. So if you guys like what Aaron had to say and you feel inspired, join the Dog Pack and you can talk to him anytime you want. So except for when he's at work. But again, we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate all the support for the show. We can't wait to see you guys next week. Hopefully talking about a huge Browns divisional win over the Ravens. Until then, stay safe. Have a great weekend and go Browns.
Go Brownies.
Go Browns. Ho, 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 ho.